Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'll be showing you how to set up and use Streamlabs, find your custom bitrate, and adjust scenes. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. So obviously, if you haven't already downloaded Streamlabs OBS, you're going to want to click the first link in the description to bring you to this web page, and then click this big green button here to download Streamlabs OBS. From here on, there will be a few pop-ups, and you're going to want to allow everything and run. Now that you've downloaded Streamlabs, let's go through the basics. So to add a scene like the one we have here, all you have to do is press the plus sign, which adds a new scene. Then press done. Now, if you right-click on it, you can duplicate it, rename it, remove it, adjust it with filters, or create a scene projector. If you go over to the sources column and press the plus button, you get an assortment of different options. The one I'll be showing you today is the video capture device. There's also a bunch of other cool ones like window capture, media source, browser source, and display capture. All you want to do is press add source, then add source again. And then I don't recommend messing with these settings unless you have any issues with your camera or you're not using it to its full potential, but I'm going to leave it at default. Now, as you can see, we've got my face camera here, and I can put it anywhere I want on the screen. Now, I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. But say I want this camera to take up the whole screen. All I have to do is go to transform, and then click fit to screen, and now it is taking up the majority of the screen. This example, I'm going to keep it at the bottom left corner. Also, if you want to see a little bit more information while you're streaming, you can click the three little bars in the bottom left hand corner. Then you can select all of these things. I'll explain what these are later. Now that you know the basics to using Streamlabs, let's go into the settings. You don't really have to mess with general at all. In the stream section, you're going to want to select your streaming service. For this example, I'm going to use YouTube, the primary server, and then for the stream key, for every streaming service it's different, but for YouTube, you go to your live dashboard, you scroll down to the bottom, and then stream key is right here. All you have to do is click reveal, and then copy it, and then paste it right here. The output section, this is where it gets more advanced. Audio track, if you're a beginner, you want to leave this at 1. I'm not even a beginner and I still have it on 1, but that's more for like if you're going to create like a music video or something, or a podcast. Encoder, you really want to leave at x264. If you're having issues with x264, which you never should have, you can try QSV, but I highly recommend x264. You also want to enforce streaming service encoder settings. That just means that it'll put this into effect. Rescale output is only necessary if your CPU goes way over the limit and nothing else helps reduce your over CPU usage. You can lower, like say if your resolution was 1920 by 1080, you can lower it to 1280 by 720, and that should help drastically. But I have a pretty good CPU, so I don't need that. CBR is for rate control, is just controlled bit rate. That just means that it'll try to keep this number at this number the whole time you're streaming. Then this number is based off of your internet connection. The second link in the description will take you to this website. All you have to do is press go. As you can tell, I have really good speeds. I have 101 download speed and 119 upload speed. That's plenty enough to stream. The base minimum to stream is around 10 to 15 up and down. So if you do have 10 to 15 up or down, I highly recommend trying 2500 bitrate. If you go any lower than that, no matter what Wi-Fi you have, your stream will experience hiccups and distortion in the video and audio. So I highly recommend staying at this or higher. But if you have 10 to 15 megabytes per second up and down, then this is what you have to use. If you have from like 15 to like 25, I would recommend up and down. I would recommend 3000. From 25 to 30, you could get away with 3500. You could possibly get away with 4000, but I'd recommend 3500. And then if you have 50 to 100 or more megabytes per second, I recommend 5000. I don't personally recommend going over 5000 because there's really no need. Unless you're like streaming in like 4K or 8K, maybe not even 4K. If you're streaming in like 8K, which is like barely out yet, that would be the only reason to go above 5000 bitrate. And then custom buffer size is extremely important. If you have 2500 bitrate to 3000 bitrate, you do not need to worry about buffer size. But if you have 3500 bitrate, I would recommend using a 1000 bitrate buffer size. And what that means is that, so for example, my bitrate is 5000 and my buffer size is 1500. That means that if my stream is stuttering or hitching, because I'm pulling too much data from my internet and I don't have enough internet to spare, which doesn't happen with my internet because I have really good internet. What will happen is it'll go a little bit lower than that bitrate. It'll go 1500 bitrate below my standard bitrate, so it just prevents hiccups and stuff. Keyframe intervals, I recommend leaving that at 0, which is auto. Some people use 2. I don't see anything wrong with just using the auto. CPU usage, this is dependent on how good of a CPU you have. I have a really, really good CPU, but I don't think I have a graphics card. I think I'm using built-in or onboard graphics that came with my motherboard. So my CPU is doing everything, and it can't really handle doing even super fast. And what that is right here. The higher the setting, the less CPU you're using. I don't 100% know how it works. All I know is that if you set it high, it uses less of your CPU. So you want to put it as low as you can. So like if your computer can handle very fast, but it can't handle faster, you want to use very fast. You don't want to use super fast. You don't want to use ultra fast. So that's more of testing and evaluating what's correct to use for your PC. But I use ultra fast because that's what mine needs. For audio, it's very simple. If you have more than one device, you want to set up more than one device. For desktop audio, you just leave it at default because I don't think anybody has 2 desktops connected to each other. And for mic device 1, you just want to connect the microphone that you're going to be using while you're streaming. And that is this one for me. And as you can tell, right down here, when I'm talking, it's going through this microphone, and you can adjust how loud it is and stuff. I can make it really quiet. This isn't actually what I'm recording with, so you're not going to be able to hear any of the effects from it. But I can make the audio quieter, louder, anything like that. In here, you can also add filters to make your audio louder. You can add a gain to make it a lot louder if this bar doesn't make it loud enough. Or you make it quieter with a compressor. With the rest of settings, for video, base canvas resolution, you want to put this as high as you can get it. If you have a 4K monitor, you want to set it to 4K. If you have a 1280 by 720 monitor, you want to put it at 1280 by 720. And the same thing for everything else. And then for output, this is the one that's important. What this does is if you're pushing out this many pixels over an internet that only supports 2500 bitrate, it's possible that your CPU and your internet combined can't handle that many pixels going through your internet. So then you can lower it to 1280 by 720, and I don't recommend going any lower than 1280 by 720. Any lower than that, it'll be pixelated and blurry, just as I said before. Downscale filter, I never recommend this filter, but you can use bicubic or bilinear. It depends on which what PC you have, but I use bicubic because it works better for me. FPS type, you just want to leave at common. And then FPS values, you want to also mess around with this and get it to where you need it. I don't recommend going any lower than 29.97. That's pretty much only used if there's like some sort of issue with your computer and it's just like forcing you off of 30 frames. And then if you can't go to 48, you want to go at 30. So on and so forth. My computer can output 60 FPS, but I cannot stream at 60 F, so I stream at 30 FPS. Hotkeys are not really important. You can set those, like you could set a key on your computer to mute your audio, unmute it, stuff like that. Same with switching scenes. Advanced is pretty important. Process priority is probably one of the most important things in settings. If your computer tends to prioritize like Chrome over your streaming software, more of your like resources on your computer are going to go to running Chrome than streaming, even if you're not using Chrome. So you want to put this above normal just so that it's has priority over all your other apps. That doesn't lag. Video, you want to leave all that the same. Audio, you want to leave that the same. Recording, leave it the same. Replay buffer, leave it the same. Stream delay, this is like if you're getting stream sniped or whatever, or anything like that, you can add a stream delay for whatever reason, but you do not need one. Automatically reconnect, I have my retry delay set to 1 and maximum retry set to 10. I don't think that's all that important either. Network, this is extremely important. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want you guys to see my IP address. But you do want to select either default or the IP address of your current location. And then here, you want to put on low latency mode. You can mess with these two, but I don't recommend it. I recommend messing with low latency mode. That's where if you're streaming, your viewers see stuff like a couple seconds later than you actually do it, because that's just how the internet works. Because your encoder has to process it, has to go through your Wi-Fi router to the servers. For example, my servers are YouTube, so it has to go through my encoder settings, through my router, through YouTube servers, probably back through another router, and then to satellites into any mobile devices or computers that people are watching the stream on. So that's where the latency comes from. And a lot of times people don't understand that there's going to be a latency no matter what you do. There's nothing you can do to completely get rid of the latency. But I get my latency down to like 3 seconds, which is like amazing. So I can snap my fingers and like 3 seconds later, everybody that's watching stream hears the snap. Sources, you don't really need that. Unless you're having issues, don't turn that on. And then you don't need that either. Then all the other stuff is not necessary for streaming. But something that I just want to show you guys. This is really cool. It's a remote control. On your phone, you can download the Streamlabs remote app. And with the remote app, you can connect it to the computer and pretty much control your stream from your phone. Instead of having to, like, if you're using a one monitor setup and you have your game open and this is in the background, you can like have your phone on the table or whatever and then like adjust the stream with your phone. Now to this. Now that you guys know what bitrate is, this counter is what tells you how much bitrate you're outputting while you're live. This should stay at the bitrate that you set it to. So for me, I set mine to 5,000. So this right here should always say 5,000 unless there's an issue. And if for some reason this is showing a number lower than 5,000 and lower than my buffering rate subtracted from the 5,000, then I have an issue, and then I want to go in settings and lower my bitrate a little bit. Over here, this is your FPS counter. That's pretty self-explanatory. This is how much FPS you're outputting. And if this is lower than what you set it to, you want to lower it in settings. CPU usage, this is not a 100% accurate counter. This counter is only for Streamlabs. Streamlabs is, for the most part, a skin put on top of OBS. So technically you have two applications running when you open Streamlabs OBS. There's Streamlabs OBS running in Task Manager, and then there's OBS running in Task Manager. So this is, I'm pretty sure, only for Streamlabs OBS. That's it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really do hope this helps you to stream and understand the software just a little bit better. And I'll see you next time. Peace.